Hello everybody, welcome to another live stream. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's having a great day. Welcome. We are ready to get started and we are here. We're gonna play some Elden Ring. I'm really excited about that. And yeah, there's not really much more to say. I got up extra early today for some reason. I didn't get up, I woke up extra early. Like I was up at like 8 in the morning. I think it's because the house is in that like space where it's like a little bit too warm, but it's not warm enough to put on the air conditioner, if that makes sense. But it's still a little bit warm, so like you don't fully sleep comfortably. Because it has been insanely warm outside. Like I'm shocked. It's April. We're supposed to still be somewhat cool. I mean there have been not snowfalls, but like that like almost snowfall-y type of rain. You know, like it's almost slushy in April, and right now it's so hot. Let me see. Yesterday it was 25 degrees Celsius. Right now it's 24 degrees Celsius. It's 24 degrees Celsius. So let's see. 24 C to F. It's about 75 degrees outside right now. In April, that's insane. I feel like it's gonna be a really warm summer. Okay, the volume's okay there. So anyways, we're in that like weird temperature phase where like it's too warm to be comfortable, but it's too cold to turn on the air conditioner. So it kind of sucks. 79. So we're pretty close temperature wise. Pretty close. Yeah, it's really weird here for us to be at that temperature. I'm starting to think it's going to be a very hot summer. Which is fine. I've got central air and stuff, and I probably won't use it when I'm by myself, but still. But yeah, so that made me wake up like really early, and then I like tried to sleep, but because yesterday I took a fairly light day as far as like any physical activity, I sat in front of the computer most of the day yesterday. I guess my back was just done. I didn't want to lay in bed anymore, so I dozed off for a little bit, then I got up and got ready for the stream, and I've just kind of been sitting here waiting for the stream to start. I didn't want to start too early, but I'm great. We're getting ready to get started, so I'm excited for that. Don Tavis, hello. Nice to see you. Yours truly, hello. And Waffle, hello to you as well. Spiritual Booty, yes, I like this shirt too. So I have the two. If you've been following me on TikTok at all, you would have seen the other one. I haven't used that character in like a year, but like my like Chad Bro stream tip giver that I have, you know, the one that gives like the worst advice. You know, he really likes his minty flavored stuff. If you know, you know. I just found out his girlfriend was all over my For You page. I had to block her too. Anyways, I basically like just trying to be like the biggest D-bag tip giver in the world and giving the worst advice possible. I have like a matching shirt. It's a blue one and it's got toucans on it. So that's his shirt. So I almost never wear it now because I feel like I'm that character whenever I put it on. But I have this one. I was looking for something a little bit more like summery to wear, and I don't have a lot of summer shirts because most of my t-shirts are gaming shirts, and all the shirts that I did have that were much more summery were from when I was way thinner, so they don't fit. I got rid of a lot of them, so I was just looking for something a little bit lighter to wear, and I saw this one and I was like, I like this. I like the pineapples. I think they're hilarious, and I like pink. You know, like this is one of my pink shirts. I've got like 3 pink shirts, and then I've got a pair of pink pants that I really like, but I don't wear them very often because they're just slightly too loose. They're made of like a stretchy jean material, and they fit perfectly when I put them on, but after like 15 minutes they loosen up to the point where they're like sagging, and so I have to like constantly be pulling them up, and I wear belts but not very often. So I like pink is what I'm getting at. I like pink. Yeah, you remember the toucans. Merle, how are you? I hope life's going okay. Wewin, was therapy okay? I know, I'm sure it was hard, but I hope therapy was okay. And it's 14 degrees. It's supposed to be about 14-15 degrees right now. Like April's never supposed to be really nice. We'll get like the occasional really nice day in April, but we've had nice weather all week. Like I washed my car almost a week ago now. I want to say it was a week ago. I think I washed it last Friday. It might have been last Thursday, but I'm pretty sure I washed it last Friday. And I looked in the weather and it was like, oh, it's gonna rain on like Wednesday. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get almost a whole week. And we've had like complete and utter sunshine all week. And it's still like there's not a cloud in the sky right now. I was even tempted to go and like just spray down my car to get rid of some of the pollen that built up over the last week. But like our weather's been insanely nice. I'm not complaining. I love the summer. I would much rather live in a place like Florida that has way more summer weather than anything else. I hate winter. I hate winter so much. A lot of Canadians disagree with me. They love winter and they hate summer because they say it's too hot. But I would rather be too hot than to be too cold. But yeah, I miss it. I missed the summer. Even though we had a really short winter, to be honest, we had a very short winter. Like we were in December and we were still having days where we could go outside with just a sweater. So like it's insane that we've had such a light winter. And mind you, when the winter kicked in, we had a snowstorm like every other week. But it only lasted like a month and a half, and now we're back to nice warm weather, so I'll take it. I mean, global warming's a bad thing, but hey, I'll take it right now. For the time being, I'll take it. It was hard. Well, you know what? It's not so important that you finish the first few sessions. It's about just getting it started and going back after you've reached that wall. So you keep it up, keep going. I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I'm hoping one day I can get started on that when I can afford it, because that's not covered here by anything. And I was supposed to get health insurance with my job, but that's kind of fallen through. And so it's not even on the table for me. But hopefully one day I can. Hopefully one day. Maybe because you're near the ocean? Yeah, definitely the location can make a big difference. We were talking about that, and I've seen a few videos about that, but I've talked about that before, where it's like based on where you are on the globe, it'll affect how the heat hits you as well. Because, you know, like in El Salvador, it can get to like 90 degrees on a regular basis over there. But people survive with no air conditioning in 90-degree weather. Whereas here, if it gets to 90 degrees, we have people literally like stuffing up the hospitals because they've gone into like heat stroke. And we wake up in the mornings to find out that people have died overnight because of the heat. And one, obviously the news doesn't spread as much in a third world country as it would here. But two, it's just the location, the way that the humidity works, the way that the sun hits you affects how your body can deal with the heat. So, you know, like when you hear in England, when they were all freaking out that it was like 75 to 80 degrees out there, and there was like all that news that like people were in a lot of danger, it's just based on their placement on the globe and the way that the humidity works and stuff and their infrastructure that messes with everything. Same goes the other way, right? Like with Texas and everything, when they get like a quarter of an inch of snow, the whole city shuts down and you hear about car accidents and people dying, and then Hollywood gets some frost and you see people buying like bomb shelter levels of equipment. But it's because they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the ability to deal with it. And that little tiny bit can be insanely dangerous for them. So it's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, no air conditioning in the houses. The houses are also built differently. It's kind of, there's an argument happening right now. I don't know if it's happening in the States, but I know it's happening in Canada, where they're talking about the way that homes are built here doesn't make sense. Because we are all like these countries, I guess, are all from like European descent. They use a lot of the European mentality when it comes to building homes, and the way that they're built in Europe makes sense because of the weather they have in Europe. Whereas the way that we build homes here doesn't make sense because we don't have European weather. And so we need air conditioners and we need, like, you know, full-time heaters because our homes aren't built to actually deal with it properly. You know, like in El Salvador, you never ever see a house with air conditioning unless they're wealthy. They live with fans, but their houses are all made of like cinder blocks, so they're able to like dissipate heat really, really easily. Mind you, if we built a house like this over there, it would probably overheat really quickly and become a tin can. So yeah, the infrastructures are just all messed up, but it's really interesting to discover that like we're using all the wrong styles of building because they're not built for this type of climate. It's crazy. It's so weird. Dark Rider, hello. Stuck in one bedroom in one Reborn and Bloodborne right now. Oh no! Bloodborne is so hard. It's so hard. You wish it was like that here in the UK? Yeah, so my understanding, I've never been to the UK, but my understanding is the UK has far less swings in temperature, you know, because they go from you know, relatively cold where they can get some snow and stuff to relatively warm, but they don't go to the extremes like Canada does. Like, we can get down to like negative 40 degrees Celsius at times, very rarely. It's usually closer to like negative 25, negative 30. But then we can get as hot as like 35 degrees Celsius. And then once you add like the humidex and stuff, it gets like 45 degrees. So I'm speaking Celsius for my American friends. So we get very extreme weather differences, whereas like the UK is a lot more neutral. So these homes tend to work better in the UK. But it is nice to have that variety here. You know, like if you really like the winter, you're going to get a few months of like really heavy winter weather. Downside is it's really dark in the winter. And so like you just feel down all the time. I always get so excited in the summer because there's just so much sunlight out. Mind you, I work night shift, so I don't get to see the sun very much anymore. But just looking outside and seeing the windows and you know, having sunshine come into the house is nice. I'm kind of planning, once I rearrange everything, depending on where I put my stream room, I'm probably going to get rid, you could see it back there, but I have curtains all covering that wall. That wall's all windows. I'm probably going to get rid of those curtains and put like more like, I don't even know what to call it. Like lacy style curtains, you know, like have privacy, but let all the sunlight in because I like sunlight. I only have it dark in here because it's where I watch TV and I've got my stream and set up and everything, and I don't want to have light messing with everything. But yeah, I do like the weather. I do like the weather. It was so random. Yeah, Dot Davis, we used to get snow in March. We haven't really recently, but weather is weather, I guess. Can't really do much. Blame it all on Europe. It's all Europe's fault. Everything. All of it. All of it's Europe's fault. Every little bit. Oh, man. You're gonna freeze. Well, I mean, if you're going to the UK, it's gonna be cold, but my understanding is it's not extreme. It's not like you're going to like Russia or you're coming up here. Up here, well, this year isn't a good example, but up here it starts getting pretty cold in December. February is the worst, though, here in Canada. But from everything I've seen, the UK, it gets cold, but not like crazy cold. I want to go to Europe so bad. So bad. Short, hello, nice to see you. Welcome. Oh, man. Yeah, you never really get snow, right? Yeah, so it's like I know that there have been snowfalls. I just wasn't sure if it was something that like it happened every year but very rarely, or if it was like it happens but like once every few years type of thing. But definitely I know the UK isn't as extreme with the weather. Here, on the other hand, here it's pretty bad. Like where I am, I'm really lucky because I'm in I think it's the most southern part of all of Canada. I am literally at the border of Canada and the US. Like I can drive 10 minutes down the street and I can be in the US. But the way that Canada is shaped, it's not like a straight across border. It goes across and then dips down and then come back up. I'm in the dip down part, and I'm actually lower south than a lot of parts of the States. Like I'm lower than parts of New York. I am actually lower than Washington, and I can't remember where else. There's a bunch of states that are higher north than I am. But there are parts of Canada where we can get up to like 10 feet of snow in the span of like 2 hours. Like an insane amount of snow. Quebec is one of those places where like you'll see like pictures where it looks like the snow raceway in Mario Kart 64, where it's just like walls of snow. There's parts of Quebec that look like that in the middle of winter. So we'll get extreme snow here, but this year wasn't so bad. But where I am, it's not too bad because I've got the lake about 20 minutes away, and then I'm surrounded by rivers everywhere, and I've got the Niagara Falls right nearby, so that tends to help with the weather. We don't get as extreme when it comes to snowfall and all that kind of stuff. When we get a snowstorm, we get a really bad snowstorm, but the last few snowstorms, we would get it for a couple of hours, and then all the areas around us would end up having it for the whole day. So we do get kind of lucky sometimes. Where's the southern accent? The funny thing is, in Canada, the more north you go, the more the accent kicks in. The more south you go, the more Americanized we sound. That's why I sound way less Canadian than a lot of Canadians sound, because I am so close to the States. Even my hometown was still only 45 minutes away from the States. And it was still really south. But yeah, we get less of the accent the more south you go. But once you start going more up north, you start getting more of that Canadian accent, eh? And they start talking more like this. It's a lot more sing-songy. But then if you head towards the east, all of a sudden it starts getting a little more Irish. It's very weird. It's very hard to follow. Like the Newfoundland people, they speak very much like, I can't remember, is it more of a Scottish accent or an Irish accent? I want to say it's more Irish inspired. I can't remember. I really can't remember. And then once you go more to the west, which is like Edmonton and all that, that's our like hick area of Canada. That would be more like our Texas. Alberta's like our Texas, basically. You know, it's like full conservative country. Everybody drives a pickup truck out there, that kind of stuff. They have more of like the stereotypical Canadian accent, but it's not as sing-songy. When you go to the islands, it's all sing-songy. It's really, really like, it's a wide range in how accenty they are. But where I am, it's not as strong. It's still there. It's still there, but not as bad. It's Irish? Yeah, okay, it's Irish. That's what it was. Yes, Don Davis, it is an Elden Ring stream. Yeah, the Maritimes. Yeah, the Maritimes. What do I mean by the jump scares on? So if you were watching me on Twitch or on YouTube, there's like the donation link, and if somebody donates $6.66, it like shoots off a really loud scream in my ears, which then catches me off guard and scares me. So it's like a jump scare. So people can like freak me out. Now, it doesn't happen very often anymore, but that's because I haven't been streaming as often for as long. So a lot of the people that used to do the jump scares don't hang out as much as they used to, so you don't see them as often. We had one last stream, actually, but we don't see them as often. I also don't do a lot of horror streams the way that I used to, so it's not as... it doesn't fit the mood, I guess would be the way to say it. It doesn't really fit the mood to have the jump scares happen as much, but that's what it is. You'd love to visit Canada. Canada can be really nice depending on where you go. There's a lot of nothing in Canada. You know, we have like there's this big thing in the States where they talk about like the beautiful scenery, and you guys have some gorgeous scenery. I would love to visit the Grand Canyon one day. God, I would love to see the Grand Canyon. But you guys have a lot of really nice scenery, and you guys talk a lot about like hunting and going camping and all that stuff, but y'all have nothing on Canadian wilderness. Like if I drive about 4 hours up north, you pretty much reach where it starts turning into like little villages instead of like cities, and then from that point forward it's just like there's forest everywhere. And there's one forest in particular that you could, like, if they built a highway in the middle of it, you could drive for like 10 hours and you'd still be in that same forest. Almost all Canadians go there to go hunting, and they go there to go camping and all that stuff. It's a really, really, it's very much like Alaska is when it comes to the forestry and the wilderness and all that. Not as many mountains, but lots of wilderness. And so we have beautiful places to go if you like that kind of stuff. I had a friend who took her husband up north and they went bear hunting. She had pictures of, like, they went with a special guy, and they used a bow and arrow to hunt a bear, and then he like prepped the bear for them and everything. But it's really, really pretty if you're into that kind of stuff. If you're not into that kind of stuff, there's not a whole lot to see here. Like the Maritimes are really nice. The islands, they're really nice. If you want to see like the ocean and fishing, very like UK feel over there. But then Vancouver is kind of the vacation spot, I guess you would call it, because it's very much a mix of everything. Like you can go to the mountains in Vancouver and go skiing in the morning, and then go to the beach in the afternoon and be on the beach, because in the middle of summer you'll have beautiful weather by the beach, but then the mountains are high enough that it's cold. So you can kind of do both in one day. So Vancouver is really, really pretty. I've never been there. I would love to go there too. Apparently that's also like UK when it comes to like a lot of rain all the time. But they also have way less weather swings. So they have more steady weather, I guess. Then when it comes to like everywhere else in Canada, there's nothing that like stands out that you need to go see this place. You know, like Manitoba, Alberta, all that. It's a lot of like farmland, oil fields. There's nothing really tourist attraction based in those areas. Like there are places, but nothing that like really draws the world to go see them. Where I'm actually in a tourist area. I'm in like the tourist place in Canada. I'm in Niagara Falls. We are completely inundated with tourists all year long. And it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. It's a good thing because obviously it brings money into the city. It's a bad thing because tourists don't care about where they're visiting. They treat everything like garbage. So this town can be pretty problematic sometimes. But like there's Toronto is another place you can go see a lot of stuff in, but it's the business center, right? So like you're gonna go there and you're gonna see a bunch of buildings, but there's a lot of stuff to do there. So if you were to go there, you have to like have an itinerary of what you're gonna do, like go see a musical and go to the Toronto Zoo and the museums and that kind of stuff. But if you're just gonna go to just kind of wander around, it's almost dull. It's just a bunch of people in a city. But yeah, the falls is really nice. I mean, I see them all the time, so they're not... Every time family comes here, that's where we take them to go see the falls. But for us, it's kind of like whatever, it's no big deal now. But Canada can be really pretty. Canada can be really, really pretty. But there's just nothing... Like, there's not a lot of history here. Canada's fairly new. There is a lot of history, but a lot of it got erased. But as far as, like, you know, it's not like when you go to, like, Europe where there's stuff that's, like, thousands of years old. There's not really anything like that here. So that's the downside to Canada. But Canada's a great country. Like I said, if you like hunting and like camping and stuff, this place, there's endless places to visit. Clear, cloudy, rain, thunder, hail, stop, rain, hail, stop, clear in a matter of 10 minutes. It's not steady at all. Well, what I mean by steady is like you don't have extreme snowfalls for half of the year and then extreme heat for the other half of the year. You can basically buy one set of wardrobe and you'll be okay for pretty much the whole year. Whereas like here, I have to go from like shorts and like a tank top, and then, you know, especially during like the transfer, like when it's going from summer to winter, like that fall area, I can literally get up in the morning and I have to have a winter coat on with like thick jeans and like a beanie or whatever on. And then by the afternoon, I have to be in shorts and a t-shirt because the weather swing is just so high. So we'll go from like -10 in the morning to like 21 degrees in the afternoon. That's what I mean by not steady. You know, you're not going to have like a 30-degree change in weather in 6 hours in the UK on a daily basis. You know, that part sucks. Ikibo. Ikibo. Icybo, how are you? Welcome. How are you? JD, you're in St. Catharines? I'm in the Falls. Don't say that word, man. Why would you come in and say that? That's like the rudest word you could say in my chat. I don't know if... No, TikTok chat's not showing up. JD just came in and said the S word. And like... I can't believe you had the guts to come and say that. Alright, cover your ears if you don't want to get offended. But he just came in and we're expecting... snow next week. Can't believe you made me say that on stream. Can't believe you made me say that. Oh man, I'm not excited for that. Yeah, I haven't put mine away. I haven't put mine away either. I have a wireless snowblower, like one of those electric ones, one of those cheap ones. I have a really small area to get the snow off in the winter. I still haven't put away the battery pack and pulled out the lawnmower one yet. Because of that exact reason. Because we can have beautiful weather for like 2 weeks and then all of a sudden snowfall out of nowhere. It sucks. It sucks so much. Oh, man. Yeah, Dontavis, I think the big thing with the UK for a lot of outsiders is because there is so much history, at least for like Canadians and Americans, there's so much history there. And because these countries were settled by people that were from there, a lot of our history teaches us about the UK. So there's almost like mysticism to the UK. You know, like I don't have any kind of heritage that I know of from Europe. I think I had a great grandfather that came from Spain. But like I don't have any direct connection to Europe, and so for me it's a totally different world. And so when I see those like historic buildings, you know, to you it might be something that you walk by every day, but to us it's like, wow, this building is like 500 years old. That's so cool. There's nothing like that here. Like our oldest buildings are like 100 years old, and even then our government likes to tear them down, so it really sucks because we lose all of our historic buildings. The town that I was from had a bunch of buildings from when the town was settled and they all got torn down. all to make way for condos from outside investors, which kind of sucks because you lose the history, right? The buildings weren't being used for anything really, and they probably weren't very safe, but they never invested in maintaining them to make them a historic place. Instead, they just gave them the title of historic, and then they got rid of them. So there's kind of that where like you see it all the time. So to people in the UK, it's kind of like whatever, but for us, we're taught to kind of revere that kind of history because that's the history we're taught. For me, it was kind of the same when I went back to El Salvador. Like I went to I want to say it was the Mayan ruins in El Salvador. And yeah, I want to say it's the Mayan ruins. The indigenous people in my country are called Pipil, and their ancestry is from like the Mayan culture. So we have Mayan pyramids and stuff in my country. They're not as famous as the Mexican ones. But going there was huge for me because that's my history. That's where I'm from. And so it was really cool to see that kind of stuff. So it's kind of the same vibe. Whereas in Canada, we don't have anything like that. We have the falls and we have the mountains in British Columbia. And then obviously the oceans for the Maritimes, which the ocean, you get fresh fish and all that kind of stuff. But that's pretty much anywhere. Like if you go to Portugal, you're going to want the same thing. If you go to Italy, you're going to want the same thing. But the falls is really the big thing we have here. And we share that with the States. The big benefit we have, and I learned about this recently, is when they settled this part of both countries, Americans decided to turn that into industry, where they're like, oh, we're going to be able to get electricity from here. We can start businesses here. We're going to have homes here. And then they started a whole car business there, like building and manufacturing cars and stuff. And then it all went under in like the 80s and they never recuperated. So there's a bunch of like abandoned homes over the border and stuff. There's nothing really good there. Whereas the Canadian side decided we're going to turn this into a tourist spot. We're going to turn this into like Vegas. We're going to have, alcohol and arcades and stuff like that. And we're thriving on this side, but in the American side, there's nothing really exciting there. So that's why almost all Americans come to the Canadian side to come to the falls, even though they could perfectly see it from their side. Apparently we also have the better view, so that helps. But that's pretty much the only thing that we have that tourists can be like, wow, we can't see this anywhere else. Whereas like if you go to Europe, you're not going to find a 500-year-old building here, right? You're not going to find a place where like Shakespeare was born or the Globe Theater. You're not going to see that kind of stuff here. So even though it is dull for you guys, it's the same with me with the falls. I see the falls all the time. I think they're stupid. Not stupid, but like, I don't get the big deal. But I'm sure for people who will never see falls as big as the ones that are here, it's mind-blowing to see so much water in such a short amount of time. The biggest news we ever pay attention to the falls with is how many times somebody dies on the falls, because almost every year we have at least 1 or 2 people die at the falls. So that's always the part that we pay attention to. Yeah, the tourism here is definitely on the decline. COVID did not help. So many places went under during COVID, which really sucks. But there's just... I think the internet is really changing the way tourism works. Because before, you could only like see it in one still picture. Now you could watch videos, so it almost makes it easier to not have to go see a place. And along with the internet, just the fact that we can travel to different places. Like, yeah, you can go to the falls, but like... Why would you spend, let's say, $800 to go to the falls as a tourist, go to the falls, stay there for a couple of days to see some water and then leave, when you could spend $800 and go to a place like Cuba or Jamaica and, go to the beach and have that kind of stuff, where the culture is totally different. Because if you're American coming to the States, the culture is different, but it's similar enough that you don't feel like you're in a different world. Whereas like if you're American or Canadian and you go to like Mexico or El Salvador or even Portugal, like it feels like a different universe because the whole culture is so different. So yeah, it's disappointing because obviously it's not good for the city. It's an upside because tourists can be such a pain. They can be such a pain sometimes. Oh man. Yeah, seriously, you can. And even when you're experiencing it for the 2 hours, you're crowded beyond belief with people bumping into you, people stopping to take pictures of the cars, and it's just not a comfortable experience. It's never a fun experience because although the falls are big, if you really think about it, it's a very small strip. and you're fitting thousands upon thousands of people in there. So it's like, it's just crowded. It's not fun. You want to park and you have to walk 20 minutes just to see the falls, and you can see the falls in 10 minutes, and then you walk up and down the strip. It takes you a couple of hours and you're done. It's exhausting for almost no comeback. So that kind of sucks. There's an old historic building even in your city. Okay, Weewin, you go put some sweatpants on. Yeah, definitely, Merle. The videos, you can get closer to things. You can see a better angle of things. It's lit better. Then you show up and it's like you can't get closer than 100 feet, and then all of a sudden the place just doesn't look as nice. And there's 5 million people in the way, and they're all taking pictures. And yeah, it's exactly the same thing. It's quite short. It is, but when you're paying like $35 to park there, and then you still have to walk 20 minutes to get to where you're going, it's like it just feels like a ripoff to pay that much money. Yeah, the tourism is definitely gimmicky. All of it is gimmicky, really. You know, like even the Ripley's museum and like the wax museum and all that stuff. It's like it's not interesting to see, because it's like, yeah, here's a wax figure of the tallest man in the world. But he's just a wax figure. It's not the same as actually seeing a very tall person. Mind you, you don't want a freak show, but like I'm saying, you know, it's just not interesting. It's just not really that great. Like the haunted houses are probably the best part, or like the things like the 4D ride or whatever. Even the Rainforest Cafe, at least it's gimmicky, but at least it's like it's an experience. Whereas like walking into a wax museum, it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of statues, and they're not even that great. Like they're not well done. People go to fish where you live. Nice. I've always wanted to visit Florida. Maybe not so much anymore, but I've always wanted to visit Florida. You know, it just seems like it would be a nice place to go see. You know what I mean? Yeah, the constant mist. I was shocked because I moved here from Hamilton, and I was shocked to wake up in the wintertime with like a fine layer of ice on my car almost every day. Just because the mist settles, even though I'm 10 minutes away. It's far away enough that the mist isn't a big deal, but it's close enough that every night we have fog, and every morning there's ice on the car. It's so weird. Oh man. Hey, the live announcement worked. Yes, it worked. Oh, nice. You're originally from Hamilton. Nice. I lived in Welland for about 6 or 7 years. No less. It was like 5 years I lived in Welland. Then I moved back to Hamilton for about 4 years, and then now I've been here for about 3. I'm glad to be out of Hamilton. I didn't want to move back. The only reason I moved back, it was during way before like this big inflation that we've had. So I grew up in Hamilton, then I went to school in London, and then when I finished school, I went to theater school. Not exactly like a job was waiting for me. I moved back in with my parents, and they had moved to Welland, so I moved back in with them. Then I lived with a girlfriend for a little while. When we broke up, I decided I wanted to just get away from everything, and so I was looking for a place to live, and the only places that were somewhat affordable for what I was looking for was in Hamilton, so I moved back with the idea like I'll be here for like a year or two, and then I'm gonna make the step and move to Toronto. And so I lived there for a little while, and then what happened? Something happened, and I ended up back with my parents. And what happened? Why did I end up back with my parents? I don't even remember. For a little while. I was with them for like 6 months to a year. Then I moved back out by myself, still in Hamilton, because my parents moved out to Hamilton afterwards, because all of us kids moved there, so they moved to Hamilton. Then I moved out on my own for a while, lost my job, moved back in with my parents after about a year and a half. And then my grandmother was sick, my grandfather died. I went to take care of my grandmother, staying in Hamilton. And then once she went to a nursing home, I moved in with Alana, and then we moved out here. So I didn't want to live in Hamilton. It was just kind of like that's the cycle I was stuck in, and when I was finally able to like get away from that, I moved out here. I'm not a fan of Hamilton. I hated Hamilton the whole time I was there. It's my hometown, and I'll always have a place for it in my heart, and there are people there that I care about, but like I hate that city. And so I'm really glad to be out, even though the Falls is one of the places that kind of the Niagara region like turns their nose up at. I would much rather be here than be in Hamilton. Much rather be here. Yeah, I went to Fanshawe. Plexi, right now I'm just kind of chatting. I'm about to get started. I'm about to start playing. We're just kind of chatting. Yeah, Stony Creek is still part of Hamilton. It's like the mountain. It's the nicer part of Hamilton, but it's still part of Hamilton. It's like Toronto, right? When you're like in North York, it's like, that's not Toronto, but to the rest of the world, it's Toronto. Stony Creek to the rest of the world is Hamilton. You can't really tell when you enter Stony Creek and exit Stony Creek when you're driving within Hamilton. But yeah, no, I was really little when I lived in Stony Creek, but that was in like housing that I lived in Stony Creek. And then when my parents finally, I'm an immigrant, so when my parents finally, upped their, my mom renewed her nursing licensing and my dad became a mechanic, then we were able to finally like move away to our own place, and we lived in like straight Hamilton, like right downtown core. Like I went to Cathedral High School core, Hamilton. And yeah, it was not a great place to live. It taught me a lot. Definitely taught me a lot. Downside was I wasn't really around people in my own culture, so I've always kind of been an outsider with my culture. But yeah, I'm okay with being away from Hamilton. I wouldn't mind living in Stony Creek. I wouldn't mind living up the mountain either. For those who don't know anything about Hamilton, when I'm saying up the mountain, it's not actually a mountain. It's not a mountain at all. It's an escarpment, and basically millions of years ago, Lake Ontario was a lot bigger than what it is now. And the shore of where Lake Ontario used to be is what we call the mountain. And then when Lake Ontario receded, all the land that was then exposed is what we call Hamilton. And so like, it's not really a mountain. It's just where the beach would have actually been, which is what we call the mountain, but it's not actually a mountain, Yeah, it's a really large hill. It's nice up there though. When I was little, I'm 30, I'm going to be 37 in a couple of days. When I was little, that was all farmland. There was nothing up the mountain. I still remember driving around up there and it was just all farmland. And then slowly things started to build. Then when I moved up there, I moved up right at the border. So it was like Rymel Street. It was right at the border of where the settlement had been, where the houses had just been recently built. And then I went back a couple years ago when I was still living there. I drove up there because I never had a reason to go up the mountain. I went and drove up there and I couldn't believe how much more is built up there. It's expanding there. A lot of it expanded out there. If Windsor didn't exist. Exactly. You'd love to end up in Alaska. A lot of Americans like Alaska. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I think Alaska's beautiful. There's a lot of scenery in Canada that's very similar to Alaska, but with Canadian rule, not American rule. So I know a lot of Americans wouldn't appreciate coming up here. I think California, I have some family that lives in California. I can't remember what city they're in. If I recall, back when I was in theater school, my aunt was really adamant that I move out there with her. If I recall, she said she lives about a 35-minute drive from Hollywood, but I don't remember where. But it's a very much like a dream place. You know what I mean? Like it's a place where it sounds beautiful. But then you talk to people from there and they talk about how crowded it is and how busy it is. And like, it just doesn't seem like a fun place to live. But the weather, I wouldn't mind the weather. Your res is up in Alaska? Okay. It's too hot for you. See, I would rather have the hot. That's one of the reasons I wouldn't want to live in an area like Alaska. Even like in Canada, living in a region that would be closer to like what Alaska's area would be, I wouldn't want to do it. I just can't do the cold weather. Can't do it. Yeah, Alaska can be very, very, very cold. There are parts of Alaska that aren't so bad in the summertime, but yeah, it can be very cold. But the weird part about Alaska is, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say that Alaska used to be a part of Canada, and then the States, like it was American, then it was part Canadian, then it was back to the Americans or something like that. I can't remember. But to get to Alaska, Americans actually have to cross through Canada. And I think it's like a 1-hour drive that they have to go through Canada to get to Alaska. But Alaska is exactly how it is in Canada, weather-wise. It's filled with valley girls, too. Oh, man. Oh, potato and cream. Oh my god, I love potato soup. Alaskan summer is gorgeous. Yeah, I could bet. Yeah, you could definitely fly or go by boat. I just know a lot of people go by land because one, it's cheaper, and two, a lot of people like road trips. So I know a lot of people travel by land, and my understanding is most Americans who go up there, you know, they're not going on like a regular vacation like you and me would go, where like pack a bag and we're gonna go for a week. A lot of Americans go out there to like camp and to hunt, to spend long periods of time, so they can't really pack up like, you know, a month's worth of supplies in an airplane. So a lot of them drive with like a camper or a trailer behind them. That's my understanding. Or they're moving out there to live, and so they obviously have to take a big trailer because they can't just fly everything that they want unless they're super rich. Ooh, I wouldn't mind a burrito. I've wanted a burrito for a while. Yeah, that's what I hear. The scenery, like when I drove, so I've driven through a lot of the states. Okay, wait, before I talk anymore. So I got half the pendant. How do I get the other half of the pendant? Do I need the other half of the pendant to go to the area we were looking at on Tuesday? I can't even remember what we were looking at on Tuesday. I can't even remember. Anyways, I've driven through a lot of the states because my dad was a big fan of road trips. So I have this path, the Dectus medallion, the left side. How do I get the right side, or do I not need it and I could just go to the area I was looking at without it? My dad likes going to El Salvador, where I'm from. He used to go like once a year, but it's expensive to fly. You know, it's like an $800 ticket round trip. This was before. I don't know what it costs now, but this was before. And then, you know, $800, it can be a lot of money when you weren't earning as much. And we were really poor when we were younger. And so, hence why I never grew up and I have all these toys and stuff. It's stuff I wanted as a kid that I couldn't get. Now I can. Anyways, so my dad used to do road trips a lot. Like we would drive down all the time. I think I've driven down to El Salvador a good 8 or 9 times. And for those, okay, so I know pretty much the rest of the world measures in distance. It's something like 2,100 kilometers. But in Canada, we measure in like time. And so if you go at a relatively healthy pace and you only stop when necessary, it takes about 8 or 9 days to drive from here to there. If you take your time and, you know, rest a lot and stuff, it could take you like 10 to 12 days. We have had some bad trips where it took us 21 days. That was the longest it ever took us. But yeah, we would travel a lot that way, and it's incredibly dangerous. That's why when a lot of people go to visit Mexico, and they talk about how great it is, I just can't wrap my head around it because I've had horrendous experiences in Mexico. Nothing against Mexicans, nothing against Mexico itself. It's just I've had such bad experiences there. Like I was held at gunpoint twice. And like I've had a gun pulled on me in Canada. And although I was scared at the time, a big part of me was like, they're not going to shoot me because they don't want to go to jail. Right. And they weren't like, they were trying to scare me. It wasn't like they were actively trying to hurt me. But when I was in Mexico, it was very clear they were trying to hurt me, because they were trying to take money. Long story short, they stopped the whole caravan we were on. They got on the bus. They were asking my dad for money. There was a guy driving a pickup truck. There was a guy sitting like on the passenger window with his head out. And there was a guy on the back. And the guy on the back had like a machine gun on top of the pickup truck. And the guy hanging out the window was holding what looked like an M16. And then the kid that got on the bus was probably about 16, 17 years old. I was probably about 24. He got on the bus with his adult friend, and they were asking my dad for money. And then the adult friend like put the gun to my head and cocked it and told my dad that unless he wanted to see my brains splattered all over the bus, he would give him money. Most scared I've ever been in my life. So those experiences have made me really dislike Mexico. That was the last trip we ever took. My dad now refuses to drive down there because of that experience. But we've driven through a lot. So I've seen a lot of scenery. That's what I'm getting at. I've seen a lot of scenery. A lot of the states that I've driven through have been not exactly like mountainous regions. It's been more just like a lot of farmland and stuff, but like hills and small mountains and stuff. But driving through Mexico, I saw some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. Like there were times where we were driving right on the coast. You could see the beach. You could see like the stereotypical cabana houses on the beach and all that. And then we drove through like full blown mountains. The reason the one trip took so long is because the indigenous community was having a protest and they blocked off the one highway we were on, and it was on a mountain, and we were stuck there for 3 days. And I'm not saying like damn them, good for them. So that made the trip longer, but like we were just like on this mountain. And there was a huge caravan of people, and there was people walking around selling stuff, but like it was just like jungle all around us. It was so cool. But I've never seen Alaskan style scenery where it's like the Snow Peak Mountains and all that kind of stuff. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. One of the dreams I've had is to actually drive across Canada, which is apparently like a 10-day trip. I would love to do that one day. That's something I really want to do. Yeah, it was definitely traumatic, but I don't think Merle's soup is very traumatic. I'm sure it would have made me feel a lot better having some of Merle's soup when I went through that. Yeah, it was a weird experience to say the least. It was the way that I explain it to a lot of people is there's a very big difference between North American criminals, I guess would be the word. You know, like there's a good opportunity that they won't do anything to you, because the truth is they just want to get away with whatever they're doing. Like if they're breaking into your house, if they're trying to mug you or whatever, they don't, most of the time, don't really want to hurt you. They will if they have to, but they don't want to. And so like usually the best course is just do what they ask and they'll leave you alone. Whereas like the people I was dealing with are in such dire straits that they would hurt you just for the sake of sending a message, whether or not you agreed with them. And like so that trip happened. And then a few years later with my band, we went and performed in El Salvador, and we flew. We didn't drive that time. And on the flight, I remember the pilot came on. This to bring home the fact that they do things just to send a message. Back home, my country is one of the most dangerous countries. I don't know if it's in the world, but I know for sure in the Americas, it's the most dangerous country. And it's the smallest country. I'm so proud. But in my country, they don't have buses that are run by the government, like by the city or anything. The buses are pretty much ran by whoever can afford to buy a bus. So a lot of them are school buses that have been transformed. And so they're painted. They look really fancy. They've got like different colors and stuff. They're very, very like Latino looking. And so you can just ride your own bus and make money that way. But there are all the gangs, and the gangs ask you for protection money. And so you pay them based on what route you're taking because they want to extort you for protection money. And they threaten you. My cousin used to, I don't even know if he's actually my cousin. My dad's one of those people that calls everybody my uncle and everybody's my cousin type of thing. And then my mom says that none of them are my uncles, so I have no idea. But anyways, one of them, we got them a bus and they were using that. And then he actually refused to pay the protection money, and they stole his bus, sold it for parts. They tied him to a tree in the middle of nowhere, and he was there for 3 days. And then when they found him, he was all bloodied. He was just in his underwear. He was so dehydrated that he was delusional. So they do stuff like that to send a message. So that flight that I went on, the pilot came over the PA to tell us that there was some really bad news. Basically, one of the buses had refused to pay protection money and had mouthed off. And so the gang stopped the bus. They all stood outside of the bus with their guns. This is traumatic, so if trigger warning, turn away if you don't want to listen to this. Give it like a minute. They told the guy he had to pay whatever he owed them or else. He mouthed off again. And then they pretty much said, we're going to light this bus on fire. The bus was full. And they all stood outside with guns and said, you either burn or you step out and you get shot. But either way, you're all dead. And they did exactly that. They set the bus on fire and they killed everybody on the bus to send the message of don't mouth off when we're offering you protection. So what I try to like tell people when I tell them, you know, that I was held at gunpoint, it's not the same as it would be here, where like they'll threaten you and they would hurt you if you put up a fight, but most of the time they're just gonna take your stuff and leave. Over there, they don't care. And so when that kid cocked that gun, it was real, right? It was real. The only thing that I think saved me was, one, my dad was able to give them some money. And two, the kid was like on the border of tears. You could tell he didn't want to be doing what he was doing, but he had no choice. It was scary. It was really scary. Yeah. Okay, Merle, we'll try to keep that in mind, although my memory is really bad, so I might forget too. I am not doing a 100% playthrough. No. I'm just trying to get through right now. We were playing on Tuesday, and oh god, where did we go? There was somewhere that we were looking at that there was... Oh, it was over here. It was over here. Up here. But I can't get through here without the medallion, right? So I got the left half of the medallion. Do I need both halves of the medallion to get through there? Or am I okay with just one half of the medallion? Yeah, Merle, it was weird. Like I said, I grew up in a really rough area. You know, I've had a few friends that lost their lives just due to violence in general. I had one friend who knew about a murder. I don't know any of the details. I don't even remember like when it happened or anything. I just remember that there was some guy that got shot, and my friend knew who did it and where the gun was hidden. And the only reason I knew is because he like mentioned it to me. You know, he was talking about like having tough friends, and then he said that. So I grew up in like a not a very nice place. And I had a gun pulled on me once. I also had a friend pull a gun, not on me, but like basically saying like, I've got your back type of thing. There was a bunch of guys that were going to beat me up after school one day when I was in high school. I was about 18, 17. And they wanted to beat me up. They really didn't like me. Although I was somewhat popular, the Latino community really didn't like me. And so there was a group of guys that really wanted to beat me up, and they were waiting for me outside of school. And there was a guy who had problems with one of the guys that wanted to beat me up, so he was looking for an excuse. And so he came up to me, even though he didn't like me. He was one of my neighbors. He lived across the street from me. He came up to me. He's like, yo, I've got your back. And I'm like, you know, I'm not going to fight these guys. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. He's like, no, man, I got your back. And then he like lifted up his shirt and he had a gun there. And then I was like, no, dude, like if anything, do not get involved because I don't want that on my conscience. I'd rather get beat up than have to deal with that. And he respected it, and he kind of walked away. He was hoping that I would give him the excuse, and I didn't, so he didn't like that. But yeah, it was really different when that happened. When that happened in Mexico, that was scary. That was really scary. He's not compensating. If anything, he's undercompensating because he's just so manly. He's being modest. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, it was scary. We went okay, so you know this game. You know this game. I can't remember who was helping me last time. But I have the left half of the medallion. This one. Where do I find the right half of the medallion? Do you know? He does. He needs an even bigger sword. This one's like true to life. It's actually smaller. It's actually too small. It's too small. But yeah, despite those like scary moments, the road trips to El Salvador were some of the coolest things ever. They were so fun. It was usually my brother and my dad and I. My sister would go once in a while. She didn't always go. And there was different ways that we took the trip. Like one time we went in a bus and we towed our minivan. And then in El Salvador, we used our minivan and then drove our minivan back. And the lawyer wrote us a letter because you can't cross the border without both parents' permission. So the lawyer had a letter basically saying my mom was giving permission for us to go down there and blah, blah, blah. But on the way back home, my dad lost his license. It got stolen in Mexico. His license got stolen. And so with his license stolen, his passport had expired while we were out there. And no. With his license stolen... Yeah, his license was stolen. He didn't realize until we were where we were supposed to be. And so we had to wait for my mom to send him a license. You know, in case he ever got stopped in the States or whatever, he didn't want to drive without a license and then get arrested or whatever in the States. So we waited for it. So we fell behind. By the time we were back in Mexico, crossing to Texas, we weren't allowed to cross anymore because the letter had expired by like 3 days. And so we had to sit in Mexico for a bunch of days waiting for another letter to be written up to send to us so we could actually cross the border. Melodias, I think that's how you say it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the Retro Squad. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. Okay, it's in Caelid. How do I get to Caelid? He needs to be a 10-foot sword, exactly. That's when he would be somewhat compensating. Just a little bit, though. But yeah, so like we had to wait in Mexico while that was happening. We've done trips in like small cars. We've done trips in like full blown, like the biggest school bus you can get. We've done them in like little short school buses. There's been a lot of fun times. It's been cool going through that. I kind of wish I could do it again, but my fear of what happened in Mexico happening again trumps my urge to want to do that. Not to mention, you know, I'm fairly light-skinned, and although I speak fluent Spanish, there are still words that I say wrong, or like I'll slip up in the way that a phrase is being used, or even just like the tone that I use when I'm speaking. It's very different in Spanish than it is in English, and so I speak with like English inflections in like the way that I move my voice up and down. And so it's just enough to know that I'm not Latino, born and raised type of Latino. And just with that, even though I speak it, even though I am Latino, it's just enough for them to know that I'm not from there. And so like I'm a target to rob or to kidnap or whatever because money. And so that makes me stand out. So that would make it worse for me to want to go out there and take that road trip again. But I miss doing road trips. They were so much fun. They were so much fun. Okay, we win. Okay. It's the red zone. This zone over here. So this area. Okay. I don't think I've actually unlocked anything to get here. So I guess we'll travel to here and ride the horse. Save a cowboy. Or no, save a horse, ride the cowboy. But yeah, I think road trips are fun. They're exhausting, and you end up smelling so bad. So bad. But I do like road trips. Doo-doo, I love Elden Ring. We were talking about this last stream. My biggest struggle with Elden Ring, and it's not a judgment on the game, it's a judgment on my brain not fitting with games like this. The biggest thing that I struggle with Elden Ring is the lack of direction. And so I'm like slouching a lot. It's the lack of direction. And so I spend a lot of streams just kind of wandering around doing nothing. And the only reason I haven't quit is because I'm streaming. If I was playing this on my own, I probably would have quit this game a long time ago, only because I don't know where I'm going. But outside of that, this game is phenomenal. And like I said, it's nothing to do with the game. It's just my brain doesn't work well. Doo-doo, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. My brain does not work well with these types of games. I'm not very good at finding, like exploring and finding my direction based on just exploring. But I think this game is amazing. I'm really liking it. I'm glad that I've been able to... I'm glad that I'm doing it on stream so that way I didn't quit. Had I quit, my opinion might have been different. And it would have been wrong. But it would have been the wrong opinion for the right reasons, if that makes sense. To have a good playlist of music, yes. when I was doing road trips is when I was really obsessed with listening to music. And yeah, we used to listen to music all the time. That one song by City High, I think is what they were called. You know that one, what would you do when your son is at home, crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry? Wow, I still remember the lyrics to that. That song was like on my playlist on my way to El Salvador when I was with my brother. I was probably about 14 or 15 years old. I still remember that. I was about 15 because I was going into grade 10. I remember we got home on like the Tuesday, and on Wednesday we had to go register for school.
I'm learning how to choose
Shut
the
up.
right audio apps.
I had just gotten home, and like the next day we had to go and register for school. So I remember like coming into the school to get my registration, seeing all my friends after I'd been gone all summer. But yeah, I was about 14 years old, and 15 years old, and that was one of the songs that I played over and over and over again on the playlist. Spend my runes. How many runes do I have? How many runes do I have? I haven't lost them yet, right? 41,000. Yes, let's do it. Oh, man. You went to Indonesia. How good is your memory of it? But how did you like it? I think Indonesia would be really cool to see. That would be really cool to see. I want to see South Korea. I really want to see South Korea. I would love to see Indonesia. I would love to see Singapore. I'd love to see various places in Europe. Lots of places in Europe that I would love to see. And despite all the stigma and issues and all of that, ignoring all of that, I would love to see China. I think China would be really cool to see. There's so much history there. There's just so much there that I would love to see. But yeah, South Korea, Japan would be another place I would really love to see. If I could like choose like one or two places that I would love to see for sure, it would be Japan or South Korea. One of those two places for sure. And then like probably Europe. Probably Europe. Yeah, Japan was some place that I had on my list for years. I remember when I was about 13, I kind of set the goal for myself that I wanted to live in Japan for a year. Now I'm too old for that. And not in the sense of like, oh, I'm old, I can't do it anymore. It's more like the rules that they have. I'm above the age. It's like in Australia, at least according to my uncle. My uncle's the head of the English department in the University of Melbourne. I can't remember what university. He's the head of the English department in a university in Australia. Actually, I think he's about to retire. But anyway, he was bugging me to move out there for a really long time when I was in theater school, because they have really good theater programs out there, and he wanted me to go out there. He's like, I'll give you a place to live. He's like, you can go to school at my school for free because I am the head professor at the English department, so I can get you in for free, and you're good as long as you qualify. And I was really, really looking forward to it. And then a bunch of stuff happened in my life, and then he's like, come out here because we the healthcare certification you have will work here. Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate that. I love pizza, but thank you for the rose. And so he's like, the healthcare certification you have will work out here, so come out here. I didn't go. I was scared to, and so I just didn't. I regret it now, but I didn't. But from what he told me afterwards when he came to visit a few years later is that basically up until the age of 30, they're willing to take you, and then they won't take you until you're of retirement age. Something to do with like when you're up to about 30, you can still invest into the country. You're still a part of the infrastructure of the country, and you're going to put into the country more than what you're going to take out. Andrew, thank you. I appreciate that. How you doing today? I'm doing really well. I hope you're doing really well. And so after 30, you're not going to be there long enough to help put into the country more than what you're going to take out up until your retirement age, when your own country is supposed to take care of you. So you're not going to be a strain on their system. So I missed my window. So I'm from my understanding, it's the same thing in Japan, where like there's a certain window that they'll kind of take you, and then after that they won't anymore. So I've kind of given up the idea of living in Japan for a year, but I would love to go visit there. I would love to go visit there and just spend like a week or two there, just to experience a very different culture and a very different lifestyle, I guess, would be the key. I think it would be really cool to see. You want to go back? You saw 4 islands on 2 big group trips. The second trip was supposed to be 2 families, but the other family canceled last minute. Oh, nice, Merle, nice. That sounds cool. That sounds fun. That sounds really fun. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, wait. It said talk to whatever the girl's name is. But yeah, there's a few places that I would love to see before I die. I don't know if I ever will, but I would love to.
Spoken echoes linger here. Words of Queen Marika, who vanished long ago. If you wish, I will share them with you.
Yes.
Very well. In Marika's own words.
Oh yeah, the soup.
My warriors, I divest each of thee.
I totally forgot to.
Thy grace.
I totally forgot to.
With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between.
I missed what she said.
Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die. Well, perhaps that might serve you in lieu of a maiden's guidance.
I completely missed what she said. Oh well, I missed what she said. Oh man.
Rest upon you for but a moment.
See,
Share them with me.
Most of my life,
Thoughts,
I was
your ambitions,
very, very poor.
the principles you would follow.
Like, my family was very, very, very poor most of my life. And so we never went on vacation, really. Our vacations were usually like, we would rent a little like motel cottage thing at like a local beach. And I use this because it's literally one of the lakes, and they've just brought in sand to make it look like a beach. We call it a beach, but it's not. It's a lake. But it's a really big lake, so it feels like a beach. And so we would go there, or we would drive back home, or we would go visit family. Like, we would go to New York. My aunt lived in Queens, I want to say. I think it was Queens. She lived in Queens. We would go visit her almost every summer for like a few days. We would drive there, or we would go visit my family in Boston. But almost always when it was involving family, it was we would go to their house. We would sit around in their house while my dad drank. So we didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't really a vacation. And so we never really did vacations. And then now that I'm older, I've been trying to get my life together, so I haven't really afforded vacations. And when I finally could afford them, COVID hit. So that was completely out the window. So I haven't really done vacations at all. Really. I've never, ever been on a real vacation. So I've never had that opportunity. Yeah, I've never had that opportunity. The downside to being in Canada is that anywhere I want to go is either the States or like one of the Latino nations, but they're all really far away. Or I'd have to go to Europe, but Europe flights are really expensive. It's one of the benefits to Europe is like everything is close enough that it's feasible to go visit. Like if you're living in the UK, you could go to France or Spain or Portugal in a relatively short period. Whereas here, it's like the closest place is the States. And if I want to go anywhere outside of the States, like Mexico is like a 6 or 7 hour flight from here. Or like a 4-day trip in a car. And so like it's not as easy to travel. And even within Canada, our airline industry is so corrupt here that it costs more to fly from where I am to like Edmonton, or from here to BC, I think is what I saw the pricing for. From here to BC, it costs more than it would cost me to go from here to like France. So why the hell would I go to BC if I could just go to France? Right? So they almost like incentivize us not to visit our own country because it's just too expensive. It's ridiculous. Yeah, see, a 3-hour drive is nothing to be in a totally different country. There's this woman that's on TikTok who's very, very intelligent. She's usually quite well spoken in what she speaks about. And she was talking about how like how big the States is, and pretty much defending the States being as big as it is. And then somebody, Canadian, of course, stepped in and said, here I am laughing in Canadian. Because I can drive 10 hours and still be in my own province. And so she brought it back to, and then she's right, she brought it back to, you know, Canada's a relatively new country. It's also divided in a way where we haven't really split it up as much, right? Like, you guys have 50 states. We have 10 provinces. And so, like, we're not split up, and then the territories and stuff. So we're not really split up. It's very easy. If you split up the states into just 10 states, then yeah, it would be really, really big for one state. So in that case, yeah, absolutely. But Canada is still freaking gigantic. Like, Canada is insanely big. So like, the big thing is that if I drive, you know, 3.5 hours, I'm still in Ontario. And so like, I'm still dealing with almost the exact same people that I would be dealing with here. So there's no big change. It's not like for you where you drive 3 hours and you're in a totally different country with a totally different language and totally different culture. Here, there's a slight difference because 3 hours away might be like a small town. So you're going to have more small town living. But overall, it's still Ontario, and we still pretty much look at things in a very similar way. So in that case, that's where she was kind of wrong, where in the States, it's divided into 50 states, but each state can be wildly different than the next. Like, if you go to Texas and then turn around and go to Florida, they're very different. And then you go to California, and it's night and day. Whereas in Ontario, you drive 3.5 hours, it's still Ontario, and it's still very, very similar. I can drive 25 minutes away into a farm town here, and then 3 hours to another farm town out there, and it's almost exactly the same. A shark center, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. A lot of vacations, camping in France, villa in Portugal, hotel in Aruba. That's awesome. That's awesome, Merle. That's so cool. Yeah, we never did anything like that, but like I said, we were really, really poor. You know, we were immigrants. My dad was 21 when he came here, so like he was just starting his life. He was in medical school, and then he came here. And he came here on a whim. Like, it wasn't... one of the things that's kind of hard for some people to understand... for Americans, it's hard to understand because a lot of Americans learn basic Spanish because there are so many Latinos there. And for Europe, it's a little bit hard because I know a lot of Europeans learn English. Hence, a lot of my European friends who can actually watch the channel and talk to me. You know, you learn English, so you learn to somewhat communicate. But in El Salvador, especially in the 80s, English wasn't something you learned. And if you did learn it, it was like a 1 semester elective class that would teach you, like, where is the bathroom? Like, really, really, really basic English. And so my dad came out here with zero knowledge of the language. He dropped out of medical school to come here, and it was on a whim. His mom had come out here, and his brother had come out here, and then all of a sudden he got a letter in the mail saying, hey, you're accepted to move to Canada if you want. And him and my mom were kind of in a rocky place, so he was just like, okay, and he just left. He left for Mexico for a few months, and then he moved to Canada. And then the reason we ended up out here, they were going to be divorced. It was going to be over. And then the reason we ended up here is because then Canada sent my dad a letter basically saying, like, you have a wife and child. The way that our sponsorship system works is they're automatically accepted because they're your wife and child. And so he told my mom, and she agreed. She just said okay, and she came. And so that's how we ended up here. But like, my mom was a nurse back home, and she wasn't prepared to come here, and she had no friends or anything, so she didn't speak the language. So we were really, really, really poor. And it took my parents a long time to kind of get their lives kind of fixed. But my parents were never educated when it came to finances and budgeting and all that kind of stuff. My dad, because he raised himself, so he was never taught. My mom, mainly because she had a dad who did everything for her, so she never really had to look at that stuff and take care of it. It was her dad did it all. So they were always very irresponsible with their money. They were always they had no savings. Like, my mom made really, really good money as a nurse for a really long time, and she has nothing to show for it because she just didn't know how to budget and finance. So we were like insanely poor. So I never got to enjoy any kind of vacations or anything like that. My parents did the best they could, but they didn't do a great job. Because with the money they made, we should have been not wealthy, but like really well off. There were a few years where my mom made over $200,000 a year. And we had nothing to show for it. Those were the years that were the worst for us. Like, those were years where we were literally like living with no hot water. I would go to school and I wouldn't have lunch because I didn't have money to pay for lunch. So we never got to enjoy like vacations and stuff. I'm hoping that I get a chance to eventually. But I never got to do stuff like that. I always wish I could. Because you're so bad with finances. See, and I learned, my sister is the best one with money. My sister is so good with money. I'm pretty good with money. Right now, I'm kind of not in a great place financially, but mainly because just the way life ended up being. You know, a bunch of not great circumstances, like, you know, my soul breaking down, my car, not my actual soul, my soul breaking down, then buying a junker that also broke down, then having to buy another car. Those things kind of screwed me financially. But up until then, like, I always had a small rainy day fund. I always had money in case something went wrong. And all my bills were paid on time and everything. My bills are still paid on time, but now I have no rainy day fund. I have no spare money. Okay, I don't know how to get across this bridge. Is it this bridge? Yeah, it's this bridge. But how do I get to the... No, that's not this bridge. It's the next spot. Were they there when you were made? Did they see it happen? Anna Conrad, hello. Thank you for that follow. Welcome to the Retro Squad. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the channel. The thing is, I don't have any way to get here. I don't have any graces over here. Unless, can I get there from this side? Like, can I go over here and go this way? Maybe I could do that. Maybe I could do that. Let's do that way. Let's do that way. But yeah, not too much. Not too much. How are things with you? Man, I haven't been called pimp in a while. How'd you know my secret life? How'd you know? Was it like the bold colors that gave it away? It was probably the bold colors that gave it away, wasn't it? But yeah, I've gotten better with money. My brother, on the other hand, he's taken off more like my parents. Now, the difference with my brother and my parents was that my parents had nothing to show for what they earned. You know, like, my dad would drink a lot. My parents would throw away money on like really dumb things. They would get ripped off a lot. So they had nothing to show for it. My brother, on the other hand, he's got his own business. He's got a nice car. He dresses nicely. His family goes on vacation and stuff. So he's not good with money when it comes to like having a bunch of savings, but he's good with money when it comes to like actually getting value for his dollar. I, on the other hand, don't have vacations or anything, but I usually have money in savings. So we're kind of both extremes. I'm hoping that I can kind of make things a little bit better though. Once life kind of settles down a little bit. It is. Hold on. Ow. I unplugged my headphones. Hold on. Oh, is this buttoned? It's buttoned. It's ruining the vibe. It's ruining my vibe. Hold on. It's the gaming collection that shows that all the ladies want me. There we go. Pop the collar. Oh, this collar doesn't pop very well. This collar doesn't pop good. I haven't worn it in a long time, so the collar's all wrinkly. There we go. Hold on. Popped collar. We're almost there. We're almost to pimp levels. And then, boom. Showing off that chest. Now I'm a pimp. Am I, ladies, do you want me? Am I like so attractive now? I'm the lady killer now, right? This is why I don't do this. This is power that should not be given to just one person. It's too much for one person to handle. And I wouldn't be able to handle how many hearts I would break if I did this all the time. Especially if the collar stayed up. Like, if the collar stayed, like, just picture it like this. Could you imagine? Could you imagine my collar like this? I would make your tortilla quiver with my voice as I sing this song. And this is why I will be single forever. Oh my god. You have to put on your broken glasses for it. You have to get a better view. Oh man. And people like randomly find me on TikTok. I can see it like randomly saying, so-and-so join the chat. So-and-so join the chat. I guarantee you they pop in and just see me doing it. They're like, what is this guy doing? Oh my god, it's too much to handle. I'm sorry for all the randoms that are finding me and don't know me. I promise I will not use that power irresponsibly. Except for a good laugh once in a while. Oh man. Laughing away all the pain. Was that the big white sleeping dragon? Or is that just a dead dragon? Is that just a dead one? I think that might be a dead one, right? We must pet the danger doggo. Okay, there's like a fort close to it. Is that it over there? That looks like way too big to be a dragon. So, what the? Oh, okay. I thought these were. Whoa! Danger doggo, where are you? Oh, that's not who I want to fight. Let's do it anyway. Whoa! Come, help me, help me, help me! Hurry! Oh, yes, I dodged last second. So skillful. Come on. Oh no, the scene changed, so you can't see that I died after boasting. I was really proud that I dodged him so many times. And then he killed me in one hit. And the best part is he killed me in one hit. And the moan my character made when he died. Ugh! Like it was like the most fragile moan ever. Almost to like spit in my face going, you think you're tough? You're not tough after this. Okay. I see a path. He's still wandering around. Can I like get past him without him seeing me? You clipped it. Yes. Yes. I need to see that clip. I'm going to have to use that for a TikTok. 100%. 100%. Damn it. The stupid links. I have it so links don't get sent because I kept getting the stupid, do you want to become famous? As if they don't know that I'm super famous. Is this the sleeping dragon? I mean, there's a fort right there. Anyways, I made it so clips can't be shared because I kept getting those stupid ad things all the time. It's because I'm super famous. All right, danger doggo. Do you need to be petted? Wow, that is a really weird shape. I can't even tell what body part I'm looking at right now. Hello? Okay, we wouldn't have to do this. Don't hate me. Ugh. What's happening? Why are you screaming? It's a very big boy. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this. It's like the chickens in Zelda. Am I supposed to like attack it? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Why are you screaming? Don't scream! Stop it! I'll give you something to cry about. God, the amount of times my parents said that to me. Yeah. If you don't like, I don't remember what it's called, that thing that people don't like holes and stuff. Oh yeah, my parents, they'd hit me, I would cry, and then their response would be, I'll give you something to cry about. It's like, you just did. Yeah, trypophobia, that's the one. That's the one. Okay. What do these things say? Tell me what to do. Try here, then try blood loss. Oh, I can see it now. Holy crap. Its health is so high. Its health is so high. So I'm supposed to kill it to get the medallion, right? That's what I'm supposed to do? Oh, the medallion's back there. Well, now I feel bad killing it. I feel so guilty. Why didn't anybody stop me before I killed it? Nobody let me know. Hold on, this is gonna take a little bit. That the dragon didn't need to die. I do feel bad killing it. They're doing the slot machine thing. They're spinning. My eyes are spinning. I just keep seeing the runes. This is for all the runes the game made me lose, but oh my god, this is taking forever. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 2 already. I cannot wait to be able to do super long streams without having to stop the stream. You know, like 4-hour streams. That would be nice. I know, you're right. You're right. If I was overcompensating, we would have done this already. Wait, how did I just take like a giant chunk of health out of nowhere? Did anybody else see that? Like, one of the hits took a huge amount of health. Oh, just a random critical hit. Okay. What if I... That's probably what it was, Cowie. The bleeding thing. Okay, I forgot about that. Have I been like infected with something? This red thing and the weapon with the down arrow, does that mean like I'm infected by something? Do I take something to get rid of that? The danger doggo is starting to get angry. Because it looks like my attack is down and my defense is down. But I don't exactly know how to get rid of it. I don't want to sit down at the... I don't want to sit at the thing over there because that'll bring his health back and I don't want to deal with that. Come on, we're so close. We're so close. Right when the dragon twitches? Before it dies? It's barely debuffed. Okay, cool. Nier, thank you. How are you? Welcome. Okay. Pay attention. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I do it right. Based on the instructions you gave me. Because we know I suck at listening to instructions or reading instructions and comprehending them properly. I'm going to wait till I see a twitch, and then I'm going to run over and sit and see what happens. Come on. Let's see. No twitch. No twitch yet. Twitch. Twitch. Run. 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 Run! Run! Oh, I didn't make it in time. I was too late. That's okay. Did I get the things though? Did I get them though? 74. I must have. I must have. I tried running, but look how slow I run. This is me running. Run. Look how slow I run. I run like a slowpoke. You run so slow. That's okay. Oh, they patched the glitch. Okay, they patched it. Nier says that they patched it. Damn it. From Software, don't you know I want to cheese your game? Don't you know I want to cheat my way through it? How dare you not let me cheat and ruin all the fun? Let's... Hold on, what does this weapon... switch the view. Does it show me the, like... Nier, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Anybody who's new and doesn't really know anything... Okay, so dexterity is C. It's not really good for scaling. That's shocking. Anybody who's new to the channel and doesn't know the kind of content that I make, I do a lot of like fun facts on TikTok with videos. And when it comes to streaming, right now we're streaming a lot of Elden Ring and Dead Space. Dead Space might change. I haven't really decided yet. And I stream every Tuesday... Excuse me. Every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Around this time. I started about almost an hour and a half ago. I started. And that's kind of what the streaming schedule is for the time being, for the next few months anyway. And then midsummer it's going to change, and then I'll be streaming on different dates at different times, and it'll be a much longer stream. But for the time being, this is kind of where we are. Okay, sit down. I still have about a half an hour, so I might be able to still get the medallion, and then next week we can get started on the area that we're going to do. Let's just go dexterity all the way. Actually, let's do one more endurance, because I do...
Yesterday's scare was fun.
Oh, thank you, Ewin. Somebody asked what a jump scare was. There you go. That was the jump scare. That's the jump scare right there. Thank you, Ewin. That was a good one. I was in the middle of saying how I want endurance because I hate that my attacks run out so easily. Whew. Oh, I tensed up really heavy in my chest. Oh, that was a good one. Thank you. I didn't see it coming at all. Yesterday, I didn't see it coming. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I didn't see it coming, but yesterday at least was a scary game. So, like, the possibility was there. Today, I didn't see it coming at all. So, thank you. Whoa, what the? Oh, it's these things. Get out of here. Oh, they are way stronger in this area. Okay, gotta be prepared. Gotta be prepared. Ouch. Holy crap. Okay, they are strong. Trod, Ghostface, hello. Nice to see you. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. In the future playthroughs, I would advise using a golden pickled fowl foot and the golden scarab. Okay, you're not the first to tell me that. I want to say I have the golden pickled fowl foot. Yeah. Okay. So I picked it up and I didn't know what it was. And I didn't look at what it does. That would have been really good to do right before the dragon death. Okay. Okay. I'll do that next time for sure. Just run straight to the ladder. Yeah, I gotta get into the habit of just like running past. I'm so used to just fighting everything that I see. But let's just run past. Let's just run past. I haven't, COD. I haven't. I have heard some pretty negative reviews about it. So I never really considered getting it. Outside of that though, I hadn't actually heard about the game until it got released. I didn't even know it was coming out. Their hype building for that game was really bad because I had no idea it was coming out. And like I made a video about Farpoint, I think is what was that game called? I don't remember what it's called now. But the one that I made a video about it recently and nobody knew what game I was talking about. There it is. So like I try to stay in the loop about games that are coming out, and I hadn't heard about that game. So I hadn't prepared to get it. And then the reviews weren't very good. So I've kind of just stayed away. I'll probably end up getting it eventually if it goes on a deep sale, but for the time being, probably not. Have you tried it? And did you like it? It's pretty good if you're an OG fan. Okay. Now, if you're an OG fan of like the characters and the storyline, or OG fan of like the Arkham series of games, is that what you're referencing? Future, hello, welcome. I like it, Future. I like it. It's a little bit hard to get used to at first. I've gotten a lot better. I'm also now popping out my chats, so they're right at the top of the screen, right on the edge, so I can kind of see the movement a little bit while I'm playing. Liam, Fantastic Tech. He's this great tech reviewer. He's like the upcoming TikTok version of like MKBHD. He's a really, really chill dude. His content is top notch. Like, I am so jealous of how good his videos look. He just put it this way too, and he commented that it feels like a spaceship, and he is so right. I feel like I'm like in like the middle of like a spaceship, and I'm getting ready to like use my machine to like fly and fight something. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like the setup. Dropped by the Clean Rot Knight duo boss fight. Was that the big thing by the tree? I don't know. I don't think I fought that thing yet, Nier. I don't think I fought that thing. Pretty good. Okay, so I've never been a comic book person. We win 13 months. Thank you, we win. Thank you. I appreciate that, we win. Thank you for the sub.
We win love.
We win love. We win love. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's really kind of you. It really is. It helps. You know, with the monitor dying, and I know I'm gonna need to replace it eventually. That's probably the first thing I'm saving up for. I was thinking about something else that I'm gonna need, but I can't remember what. But definitely the monitor is something I need to replace. So that money that I'm earning is gonna go towards a monitor probably. A couple of games that I'm looking forward to getting, but definitely the monitor, because this one is on its way out. It doesn't wanna help. Nier, if you're here on Tuesday, if you have the opportunity to be here on Tuesday, absolutely. Right now I'm gonna say no, only because I've got like 15 minutes and then I gotta go. I gotta pick up my daughter from school, so I won't be able to do much right now. So I don't want to get it started and then not be able to complete it, or get started and lose track of time and then end up being late to grab my daughter. But if you're here next week, absolutely. So I've been live now for an hour and 39 minutes. So whatever time it was, an hour and 39 minutes ago, whatever time that was, is when I will be live again on Tuesday if you want to pop in. I've played all the Arkham games. The only one I didn't beat was Arkham Knight. I think that's what it was called. The one in the city that was really broken, that people were really upset about because the PC port was just trash. And I bought it for PC, and it was a rough ride. That's the only one I didn't beat. I put in a couple of hours, and I really liked it, but the brokenness of the game made it hard for me to enjoy. Like, I was running at like sub 30 frames a second. At the time, I was using 1070, I want to say. So it wasn't like a slouch of a card, but it wasn't the best. But sub 30 is ridiculous. So I stopped playing it. And then I know they patched it and they fixed it. I just never went back to play it. I do want to. I just haven't yet. But I really liked Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. Those were the other two, right? And then there was another one that was like Christmas themed. I really liked that one too. I can't remember what they were all called, but I liked the three that I played. They were amazing. And Arkham Knight, I think, is the one that was broken. I really liked it. Yeah, it was better on console. I got it on PC. I almost always buy my games on PC, because by the time Arkham Knight was coming out, like, the consoles were now no longer top of the line. Like, the PCs were more powerful. So I went for PC with the idea that I could get a better experience. And then it turned out that the port was just so bad. Whereas, like, right now, the PC version is just as good as the console version. So no matter what you pick of like the games that are coming out right now, you're gonna get almost the same experience. I got Dead Space on the Xbox specifically because I wanted ray tracing and all that, and I knew it wasn't going to be any worse than the PC, really, and I could stream it easier. But, you know, it's not like it wasn't then like it is now, where no matter what you get it on, it was the same. By the point Arkham Knight came out, PC versions were usually better, and then I was really disappointed. I do want to go back and play it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Another one that I want to beat, and it's really old, is Fear. That's one I want to beat. I want to make a video on it, but I want to beat it before I start doing the research because I don't want to get it spoiled. Okay, Nier, that's perfect. Yeah, follow me on Twitch, and you should get the notification, and hopefully you'll be able to pop in. You can let me know where to go. I'll totally appreciate that. Poet Pillow, nice to see you. But yeah, I thought Arkham Knight was really pretty. I still think it's really pretty. And I'm a graphics slut. If a game has really good graphics, I'll look past bad gameplay. I know it's not a good trait to have, but it's something I have. So I do want to go back and play it. I just haven't gotten around to it. But Arkham Knights, or whatever it's called, the other one. What is it called? Gotham Knights. Yeah, I've just heard some really mixed reviews about it. So I'll probably try it, but I'm more than likely going to wait until it's like on a deep sale, like, you know, like 10 or 15 bucks. Arkham Origins, that's the one. Arkham Origins, that was the other one. Okay, perfect, Weewin. I'm going to use it because that was funny. The same thing happened last stream too, where I said something and then I died almost immediately, but I can't remember what it was. Something about fighting a boss, and somebody said you could do it this time, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I died because a chandelier fell on my head. But it wouldn't be as funny because the chat didn't pop up on screen, so nobody would know what I was laughing at. But this one was perfect because I was like, yeah, look at those dodges, that's awesome. And then I got killed. So it was perfect. All right, COD Ghostface. Hopefully I see you again. Have yourself a good day.
Linger here as well. Shall I share them with you?
Yes, please, because I didn't catch what you said last time.
America's own words. The Earth Tree governs all. The choice is thine. Become one with the Order, or divest thyself of it, to wallow at the fringes.
Near is far. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Hopefully you can help me next week. Huh. Cool.
Shall I turn your runes to strength?
Yes, please.
Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment. Share them with me.
Do you think that would work if I was on a date and I said that?
Your ambitions.
Do you think that would work if I said that on a date? Let your hand rest in mine. For but only a moment. Who wants to do this anymore? Instead, I'll just be like, let my hand rest in yours, but for only a moment. It won't be creepy at all. Then I have to end it with, ladies. I'm old. That meme / joke may totally go over a lot of people's heads right now. I don't think I have golden runes to like level up or whatever. I don't think I do. Nope. It doesn't look like it. I guess not. It would 100% work, right? Oh man. There are some in the fort. Okay, I'll look for. I was just because I was like 300 runes away from leveling up, so I just wanted to make sure that I could level up. But no big deal. We could do it next stream for sure. I just wanna get into this place. How do I? Oh wait, is that them? Is that them? There they are. There they are. I just didn't go down deep enough. Ladies, that's so creepy. Oh, it's so gross. There we go. Now I should be able to level up. I'll do the other ones next time if I remember. I'll do endurance. Okay, Nier. If you're here next week. If you're here next week, we'll do that. And then the boss thing that you were talking about. For sure. I'm just like, I'm literally, I'm done in like 5 minutes, basically. A little bit less than 5, a little bit more than 5 minutes, but like, I'm right on the brink of being done. The main reason I have to be so... Oh, can I not combine them? I guess not. The main reason I have to be so particular about being there on time, it's because where my daughter goes to school, they have like a pickup spot outside of the school, but only like 4 cars fit there. And almost every parent that goes there drives a giant ass pickup truck. And so they take up the whole parking space, and you can't get a spot in front of the school to pick up your kid, but there's nowhere else to put your car, so you end up being out on the street. So you have to like park a block away and just kind of sit around waiting. So I like being there early so I can have a space to pick up my daughter, because those parents that go and pick up their kids, they're waiting for their kids to get out at a regular time, but my daughter gets out earlier than everybody. And so like those parents aren't supposed to be there, but they don't care. Half of them are there for the daycare and they're not supposed to be parking there at all, but the other half, their kids aren't going to be out for like another 15 minutes after my daughter gets out, but they still take up the space. So I try to get there early enough so I can pick her up without having to be stuck a block away. Back to the other side. Oh, I walked right by and I didn't see it. I thought it was a sign for some reason. Yes, COD, what question do you have? Yeah, we win. It's frustrating. Like when I was Nora's age, I was already walking home by myself. And I grew up in a really bad neighborhood. But you know, when we were kids, I don't know how it was in your area, but like here, when we were kids, our parents were very much still of like the Gen X style of upbringing. Like my parents were, you could play outside until it gets dark. Just listen for my whistle. Don't go too far away. If you can hear my whistle, then you're close enough. But they were also, you know, walk home from, like I was walking home from school by the time I was like 7 years old. And my walk was only like 15 minutes, but it was a far away enough walk that anything could have happened to me in that time. Nora's distance is about the same. But schools are a lot more involved now. Things are just more, we acknowledge that they're more dangerous. Not more dangerous, but we acknowledge how dangerous it is for a kid to walk at that young age. So we still take her to school and from school. So I've never been able to just be like, here, just take your bike or whatever, go to school on your own. Definitely would make life a lot easier. Yeah, be back when the lights come on. That was pretty much it. I didn't see the question, COD. On my screen, it literally just shows, I'm back, question. Sorry, that was a weird question, but I didn't get the question. It might have gotten censored. Yeah, there we go. It says it was filtered. I can't do anything. It just says TikTok says some questions are, or some comments are filtered for community safety. So I don't know what you said. Yeah, you walked home since first grade. Yeah, I was about like 7 years old when I was walking home. So like between kindergarten and first grade, around then. But things were so different back then, right? Like I lived in when I was really little, when I was that little, I lived in like community housing. Basically where like the city owns the house and they give you rent based on what you earn versus like what the rent would be. And so like if you only earn like $400 a month, they're going to charge you like $75 for rent type of thing. And so we were there, and it was in a bad area. It was in a really good city, but it was in a bad area of the city. And I remember we used to have like bums. We called it the Creek. I don't even know what was there for real. Now I think it's a highway that they ended up building there, but it was like a fence in the back area of the community. And there was a huge hill that led into like a little forest. And we used to have a lot of like bums that would hang out there. And like at 7, 8 years old, I would just like play outside all day long without my parents ever checking in on us. It wasn't super far from the house, but like we would be playing all the time outside. And my parents just never checked in on us. The amount of times I did like really stupidly dangerous stuff. Like I went under railroad tracks once that went like, it was a bridge, and the train would go by there every couple of hours, but it was like over 100 feet in the air. Like the drop was that deep. And I went underneath like where like all the actual like structure of the bridge was, and I like climbed up into the middle of the bridge under a train track, 100 feet up in the air at the age of like 8 or 9. Insanely dangerous. Okay, Merle, have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. I'm almost done in 5 minutes anyway, so you're not going to miss anything, but have yourself a good night. God, I still didn't see what the question was. I don't know what you asked. It censored it, so I couldn't see what you said, and I can't click it to see. I'm sorry. Yes, I did. That was the wolf boss, right? Right, Weevan? That was the wolf? Since it was only like 9 years ago. See, for me it was... Oh, okay. I thought that was the wolf. Then no, I guess I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. The praying one with all the weird churchy crawling monster things. Yeah, I beat her, and then she asked me if I wanted to like restat my character, and then I said no, and then I just walked away. Was I supposed to do something else there? But yeah, Nier, I'm quite old, so back then is like really back then for me. Like those days when I was doing the railroad track stuff, that must have been like 1994, 1995, around then. Hell, I went into high school during the millennium. I remember we were so mad. My class was so mad because we graduated in the year 2000. We went into grade 8 in 1999 and we were graduating in the year 2000 to go to high school. And the class before us themed their graduation as the millennium graduation. And it's like, guys, you're graduating in 1999. It's not the millennium. We're the millennium one. And of course, we didn't want to have the same theme as them, so we didn't do that theme. But we were so mad, I remember. I'm old. That's what I'm getting at. I'm old. The Quebecois equivalent of college next year? So you're... How old did you say you started walking? It's first grade, 9 years ago to 10th grade. Okay, so... I don't really know much. I didn't even know that there was really a big difference in the way that things are taught in Quebec. You guys start college that early, or you guys just call it college, but it's high school? Oh my god, I remember that. I remember the whole Y2K thing and how, like, insanely panicked everybody was about it. It's big time different? Yeah. Okay, I'm surprised because I didn't know, but I'm not surprised because a lot of stuff in Quebec is really different than here. Like, Quebec is pretty much its own country compared to Ontario. It's so different. Okay, we are sitting. Ooh, flasks. How do these flasks keep getting, like, added and stuff? Is it just by opening up new places to sit, or are there things that I'm picking up without realizing it that allow me to... Yeah, the golden seeds. Huh. I should probably pay attention to that. Yeah, I don't think I've been noticing about picking those things up. All right, folks, I gotta get going. I gotta go pick up Nora. Thank you all for hanging out today. It was really fun. I will be back on Tuesday. My birthday is Monday, so... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything. I don't even know if I'm going to be posting content over the weekend. I'm not doing anything special for my birthday. You know, I'm going to stream on Tuesday, like normal. Maybe I'll do an extra stream Wednesday. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm not really doing anything for my birthday. I don't have the schedule availability to really do like a birthday stream because Alana's in bed all day, and so I have to be watching Nora, so I can't do like a 4 or 5 hour stream anyway. And then my weekends, it's where I start my work week, so I'm like super busy on the weekends, so I can't do anything on the weekend anyway, so I'm probably not going to do anything for my birthday. But yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. But yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday. Oh, yes. Yes. Celebrate with cheesecake. Cheesecake, my favorite cake in the world. Oh, I love cheesecake. But I will be back on Tuesday. We'll continue with some more Elden Ring. We'll explore this area. Near, if you're here, you can help me with the boss fight you were talking about and the other rune thing you were talking about as well. And we can just move forward from there. And we'll see what happens. All right, everybody. I got to get out of here. Thank you so much. The plan right now, Weewin, is on the weekend we're going to go see the Mario movie. As long as she doesn't have a bad day. You know, if she's been having a little bit of struggles with her attitude lately, so if she's having a bad day, we may not do that either. But if everything's okay, we're going to go see the Mario movie. And that's pretty much the extent of the birthday celebration. Her and I are going to go see the Mario movie. We're going to have like popcorn and candy and stuff while we watch the movie, and then maybe go to like the park. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. And that's pretty much going to be my birthday. Really. Like no gifts, no celebrating, no cake, nothing. It's going to be a regular day, really. There's nobody to celebrate with me. So my birthday is what I'm making of it, which is going to the movies with Nora. It just is what it is, you know? It's fine. But yeah, I will be back on Tuesday and we'll play some video games, and I will no longer be 36. Ugh. It's the last time you're going to see me as a 36-year-old. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Twitch and